Welcome to the deep dive. We sift through the sources so you get the key takeaways. Today we're heading to India, to a really fascinating historical spot, a fort called Sajjangad. Now, our deep dive suggests this place, it's not your typical military fortress. It started life as Parli Fort, but then Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, the founder of the Maratha Empire, he renamed it, called it Sajjangad, Fort of Good People. Pretty evocative name, right? So our mission today is to figure out why. Why does this fort stand out for its spiritual importance, not just its strategic position?
Absolutely. And just to place it for you, Sajjangad is near Satara in Maharashtra, definitely not near Nashik. That's a common mix-up we should clear right away. As for its origins, it goes way back, built probably 14th, maybe 15th century by the Bahamani rulers first, then later the Adilshahi Sultanate had control before Shivaji Maharaj came onto the scene.
Okay, so when we think Shivaji Maharaj, we often think big battles, sieges, But the story of how he actually got Parali Fort, well, here's where it gets really interesting according to our sources. What did you find about the actual takeover?
Yeah, that's the surprising part. Unlike a lot of his other conquests, there's no record of a major drawn-out battle for Parali around 1658 or 1660. It seems much more likely that it was acquired through maybe negotiation, or perhaps just a minor skirmish. It wasn't really a standalone siege event, more like part of his bigger push across South Maharashtra and the Konkan area. So this peaceful acquisition, it's quite different from many of his other famous fort captures. It kind of sets the stage for what came next.
Right. No big battle, just sort of absorbed into his growing territory. Which makes you think, why this fort then? What was special about it? And after getting it, Shivaji made this, really key decision. He invited Saint Ramdas, Guru Ramdas, a really revered spiritual figure and actually a mentor to Shivaji, to come and live there permanently. And apparently, local Maratha Sardars, these kind of chieftains, they helped secure the place for this new purpose too.
Exactly. And the changes weren't just symbolic with the name change to Sajjangad. Shivaji actually ordered physical repairs. The main gates, the temple complex inside, they were fixed up. But the crucial thing was establishing it as a spiritual hub. Guru Ramdas lived there right until he passed away in 1681. So it transformed from just a fort into, an active center for religion, for administration, even for learning, like a working ashram, you could say. Imagine that a military fort turned into a sort of spiritual university.
That is quite the transformation. From a military spot to a place of peace and teaching. So let's connect the dots. What did this mean for the Maratha kingdom as a whole? This place, Sajjangad, becomes St. Ramdas's home base. How far did its influence really reach? Our sources suggest it hit pretty deep, not just for Shivaji when he was younger, but for the whole future of the empire.
Well, what's fascinating here is how Sajjangad basically became the spiritual headquarters for the Marathas. If you think about the big picture, this really cemented the connection between religious ideals and Swarja, self-rule. The whole idea of creating a sovereign Maratha state, it wasn't just a building. It became this powerful symbol, helped shape Maratha identity, both politically and culturally. It was about building a moral compass, a spiritual strength, right into the kingdom's foundations. Not just about land, but about, righteous rule.
So more than just stones and walls, it was like a moral blueprint for the state. But let me ask, did any sources suggest maybe this was also just, a smart political move, using religion to boost his authority? Or was it genuinely seen as primarily spiritual?
That's a fair question. I mean, smart leaders use all sorts of strategies, right? But our sources really do lean heavily into the genuine spiritual connection and its impact. They emphasize that Sajjangad stood apart from other forts because its main value wasn't military or political. Unlike places taken purely for strategic advantage, this one was specifically developed as a spiritual and moral stronghold. It really challenged the usual idea of what makes a place powerful within a kingdom.
Okay, so it offers a different model of power. How do you build an empire that's strong, but not just through fighting? Sajjangad seems to be part of the answer. It was home to Guru Ramdas, who wasn't just meditating, right? He was actively shaping thought, inspiring Shivaji's vision.
Exactly, inspiring that vision of Hindavi Swaraja, specifically Indian self-rule, breaking from foreign dominance. The fort became this wellspring of spiritual energy and devotion, fed directly into the core values, the ethos of the Maratha Empire. That blend of spiritual conviction and martial power, that's what made it quite unique.
From Parli Fort to Sajjangad, its story really shows that strength, even when you're building an empire, isn't always about the battles won or the land held.
Yeah, exactly. Sajjangad kind of demonstrates that real strength can come from, well, moral and spiritual roots. It makes you wonder, doesn't it? Think about other times in history, maybe other places or even people that seemed unimportant strategically, but ended up playing a huge role in guiding things, shaping big changes. What other unexpected sources of influence have changed the course of history, not through force, but through conviction or ideas? Something to think about.